Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. How are you this evening? My name is RJ, and I want to thank everybody for coming out. Carrie, I see you here already, and I see people filtering in. Tonight's going to be an interesting night because I'm going to show you how three missing little girls all tie back to one case. But as we get started, or before we get started, I know people are filtering in still, and some may not want to hear this. But in some ways, all three of these little girls are copycat of one. And the little girl that we're going to talk about in the end, and most of our time tonight, is Evelyn Boswell. Hi, Stardust. How are you? This is Miss Evelyn Boswell, 15-month little girl from Bluntville, Tennessee, went missing back in February 2020. Or at least that's when let me correct myself. I apologize. That is when the Amber Alert was issued, was February 2020. But there's a road that we got to travel in order to get to her story. Everybody's familiar with what Summer Wells, the whole case of Summer Wells, and the little bit of a bombshell that dropped today, where apparently somebody is related to dating the supposed social worker in charge of the boys' case, has come out and indirectly said that one of the boys has admitted to knowing what happened this summer. Lorraine, how are you? Thank you for joining me. Carrie, thank you for throwing that up. This whole entire night, it is going to be a trigger warning because this is going to be a path that has twists and turns that you won't expect. But in the end, you'll see how Evelyn Boswell is just as important as Caylee Anthony and Summer Wells. First, a funny little story. I didn't address this when I talked about June 15th, the past two nights. But I want to say this publicly. If you watched anybody that was streaming or restreaming, I believe it was 3 different channels, thought that Jackie Dobbs was at Robin Lane's memorial service. I am not Jackie Dobbs. That was me they thought was Jackie Dobbs. Yes, Carrie, thank you. Content of this discussion is also opinionated and alleged. I have no problem with expressing my opinion. And tonight, when I show you these twists and turns and how they relate, you'll open your eyes. But that is my opinion of how this is all together one story, or variations of one story. but I'm going to keep this trigger warning up for now. So, 3 channels had decided they were going to focus on me, thinking I was Jackie Dobbs at Robin Lane's memorial service. Forgive me if I'm laughing. I'm not laughing at the fact that we were having a memorial service. I'm laughing at the fact that none of them came up to me and tried to introduce themselves to me and find out who I was. Yes, Carrie. Carrie was there with me. We were there because we wanted to be part, not participate, not actively participate, but be there at the service they were having. So, short of this little funny little story, is that if anybody has any curiosity what I look like, even though I don't have a camera and will eventually have a camera, find those 3 streams and watch when they go and focus on somebody and said, "Is that Jackie Dobbs?" They kept whispering it over and over again. And when they started to do so, I noticed and looked over towards the camera. I heard them. So if anybody wants to know who RJ is, till I get a camera for my computer, which will be happening sometime few months down the road yet. I'm not putting a timeline on it. But that was me, not Jackie Dobbs. So there's 2 stories everybody's very familiar with. And just to do a quick recap. Everybody knows Summer Wells is still missing. And everybody knows what happened to Caylee Anthony. Her mom was Casey. And the whole rush to judgment that there was, which landed up with the mom being found not guilty of what she did to her baby. Another precious little child that actually caught national news attention, and captivated national audiences for I don't remember how many months. I know that it was somewhere between over about a 3-month period where she was living it up, partying, while her little girl was missing, but she knew all along where her little girl was and what she had done to her little girl. The justice system failed in Florida in a rush to justice. In that case. And as far as Evelyn Boswell is falling through the cracks and only local media is covering it now, that it's important that they take their painstakingly slow time. Painstakingly slow time. They are being meticulous about the trial that's upcoming for Evelyn Boswell, which we will get into in a moment, and get an update and get into the story of Evelyn Boswell in just a moment. And then we have, of course, Summer Wells, which we just passed the 1-year anniversary of. But what is the common thread between all three of these stories? Is it they were little girls, little children that were defenseless, had no chance, even though they should have had a chance? Bright futures ahead of them, they were robbed of. Not only just robbed, but annihilated from having. No matter what happened to each one of them, it's a tragedy so big because not only did that child get destroyed, or these children get destroyed for no reason, but we'll never ever know how bright and beautiful their life would be. Yeah, I know. I'm being really heavy. I'm being a little remorse, and I apologize about that. But it's the truth. It's the truth. These children didn't deserve what has happened to them. They should be able to fulfill the dream every little girl has of one day walking down an aisle and marrying the guy that is to be their prince of their life. To go to college and have a career. To have a family someday. And no, these are not in necessarily in that order. They are just, I'm just throwing my thoughts out there, what they'll never have in their life. We're going to come back to one question all night. So keep this in mind. How are the three little girls linked together? And it's not that they're little girls. It's not that they were of a certain age range. Because Evelyn Boswell was only 15 months. She was the youngest of the three. Is that these parents cannot tell the truth. Fiction is more a foreign thing to them. Excuse me, I'm saying it backwards. Fiction is more of reality to them than reality is. Miss Evelyn Boswell, not long after turning 15 months, just at the brink of becoming a toddler, her mom decided that she didn't care for her daughter anymore. Hello, Rain. Thank you for joining us. And if I missed anybody else, I apologize. I will try to catch you in the chat and say hi to you. Evelyn's mom didn't care for her anymore. Caylee Anthony's mom, or Caylee Anthony, my apologies, mom, didn't care for her anymore. And as we've learned things about Summer Wells in the past year, we found out there was jealousy issues. The family can't tell a consistent story about what happened to Summer. Can't tell you details of what happened to Summer. Can't tell you details about Summer, other than she liked to go out on a swing, hang out on her swing, and a few little tiny stories that barely humanizes her. Each one of these stories, the parents chose fiction to be reality over reality. I'm not going to go into great detail about Caylee Anthony. That's been well documented in the news. It's just, if you're not familiar with it, Caylee Marie Anthony died somewhere between June to December 2008 at approximately the age of 3 years old. Her mom, while she was missing, was partying it up in Orlando, Florida, Miami, Florida, the club scene. She was just going about her having a single person's life, and has even since then written books. Or participated in writing books. When she placed her child in the woods, as if her life didn't matter, just to throw her child's life, not even to have the final goodbye of a funeral. All the time saying that her daughter was kidnapped by the babysitter. So how do we get from Caylee Anthony to Summer Wells? I started off by saying there's this one little girl, Miss Evelyn Boswell. I From day one that she was reported missing. It's another story that I followed. 15-month-old little girl. Her mom also chose fiction over reality. Her mom is currently in jail awaiting a trial that will be held now in February of 2023. Almost 3 years to the date after her child disappeared and ultimately met her demise. Bear with me just a second here. All the time that, the whole time that she reported that her daughter went missing, her story was her mom's story was Megan's story was that she left her with a babysitter. Oh, who wait, time out. Who do we just hear that from? She left her with a babysitter who was also holding her for ransom. There we go again. But instead of this time her being hidden in the woods, she was hidden in a shed among her toys and stuffed animals on her grandfather's farm in Blunteville, Tennessee. Can we say copycat, anybody? Almost perfect copycat of what Caylee Anthony did. Didn't report her missing for several years later. Or not years, my apologies, several months later. And an Amber Alert was issued February 2020. Now, forgive me, folks. I'm trying to get to a timeline so I can give you more information about dates and things like that, because I don't remember all the events that had happened. Just bear with me a second here. This is that little girl. Take a look at her eyes. That adorable little smile. Not even a toddler yet. This is the little girl that I call Little Miss. Because every single picture, her eyes, her smile is just, you can tell it brightens up the room. There are some kids, some people that even as adults, you could just tell when they walk into a room, they brighten up the room. Bear with me a second, guys. I appreciate your patience with me. So Miss Evelyn Boswell, the little miss here, was first issued a Amber Alert on February 19th, 2020, after it being reported missing on February 18th. On the February 20th, photographs were then distributed by TBI, and hoping more people will recognize and have seen the pictures of the little girl, giving updates. Forgive me, I'm drinking some ice water, folks. At the time that by February 21st rolled around, they were searching for a gray BMW that was believed and reported by the mom to have been individuals traveling were connected to Evelyn. February 21st, Megan Boswell also spoke with WCYB out front of the Bristol courtroom. Within just a few moments of the police and Miss Leslie Earnhardt from TBI holding a press conference. The sheriff at that time, and this is going to be a Sullivan County, not Hawkins County, so we are talking about a different county, but still in the same general area, had said a couple of stories that her dad had her, who was stationed on a military base in Louisiana, as well as the gray, again about the gray BMW, which had no connection to the dad. In the press conference that the police had with Leslie Earhart, and forgive me if I'm mispronouncing that name, we all know who she is from Summer Wells. It's the same spokeswoman from TBI. But the sheriff in this had said her stories aren't leading up to stuff we went out and checked on. And this, of course, they're referring to Megan. The sheriff described some of the information as conflicting and inaccurate. At that time, the sheriff said that they believed Evelyn was still alive. Outside of the courthouse, moments within just a little bit of time later, as I said, Megan had spoke with WCYB, which is a news channel not as big as WJHL. It's out of Bristol. When the reporter asked her why it took her so long to report that Evelyn Boswell was missing, the answer was, the reason I didn't report it or anything was I knew the person who had her, and I didn't want them to run away with her. I'm just kind of worried, about where they are at, what they're doing with her at this point in time. This already, February 21st, was the beginning of the end of the story. Each and every single time that Megan spoke with the press, either the newspapers or television media, her story kept changing and changing and changing. And the police were noticing. A 15-month little girl, her mom could not tell the truth. Her parents, Evelyn's grandparents, completely distraught about what was happening. Doing everything they possibly can do to assist the police. Search for Evelyn. Her own mom wasn't doing a thing. On February 24th, there was another press conference where there was more information released. Which the TBI had said, we're continuing to do everything we can find Evelyn Boswell, as well as start to address and unravel the lies that Evelyn Boswell was told about Evelyn Boswell. Guys, I apologize. I'm not really looking at the chat right now. Stardust, you're absolutely right. I'll never understand it as well. And Double Rainbows, 2 days before Amber Alert. You're right. You're right. Before the Amber Alert, it was already obvious that there's so much missing. The mom was so wrapped up in this in the wrong way. One of the stories that Miss that 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 Megan had tried to pass is that a gypsy cult had Evelyn. Remember, I said she chose fiction over reality. Another one of Megan's wonderful lies. And it trying to attempt to explain why she couldn't cooperate with the police in their investigation and take a polygraph. She tells WJHL on February 25th through a Facebook Messenger that she was pregnant. Just so everybody knows, the dad was cleared long time ago. From the very get-go, the dad was cleared of this because he was in Louisiana, he was on his military base, he was where he was supposed to be, when he was supposed to be, and accounted for at all times. TBI finally got tired of, and Sullivan County finally got tired of Megan's lies. By 4:20 p.m. on February 25th, more than 500 tips had been reported about Evelyn Boswell, but no credible sightings were ever found. There was even one point where investigators and asked the U.S. Marshals in Washington County, Virginia Sheriff's Office to check a campground in Mendota for Evelyn Boswell. And of course, that did not come up with any results. Let me take a pause here because I'm not seeing it in this article. But the mom, one of the stories that Megan had told landed up with them searching in North Carolina in a lake in uh, I can't remember the town name. It's right. It's a pretty busy tourist town over in North Carolina. Boone. It has a college there. It's Boone, North Carolina. Tell crazy the story that she tells, and they go through all this to try to find this little girl. That was on the February 26th that they had done this. Also on February 26th, the Sullivan County Sheriff's Office had a press conference in which they announced that Megan Boswell had been arrested. The sheriff got up in front of the cameras and says, "Every time we talk to her, her story changes. I'm serious when I say that every single time." When I'm exaggerating, when I'm emphasizing this, I remember this exactly as if it was just yesterday. That's exactly how the sheriff said it. He was angry and he didn't hold back. Just after the press conference had happened at 1:40 p.m., investigators in Wilkes County, which is the where I was talking about in North Carolina, they searched a pond located north of Wilkesboro, which is just outside of Boone. Which, of course, that did result in no them not finding Evelyn. They were closing in, like I said, from the 21st. They were closing in very quickly on this. They knew it was her. Angela Boswell and William McLeod appeared in Bristol court. McLeod's they had bond. They were arrested when they were in North Carolina because it was them that had the gray BMW, and it had actually been reported stolen. So we have a family that is not exactly, the perfect family. There's legal trouble and it going on in the family. Okay, her mom, Megan's mom, Evelyn's grandmom. It's not perfect. There's rumors of there being drugs, never although never proven, being involved, and like I said, the stolen vehicle where they were found in North Carolina and extradited to Tennessee. The reason they searched that lake in that particular county is because the stepdad, the mom's boyfriend, grandparents owned that property that was surrounding that lake, and it was rumored that Evelyn had been out there a few days before. Megan went missing. They even went and searched around and under a trailer that was not far off of where it was where Megan had once lived, and they found stuff buried under the trailer. Not just thrown under the trailer. Somebody dug a hole, put Evelyn's things in the ground, and covered them up. We're talking about some toys, some clothes, and they're not even like burnt clothes. They were just thrown in a hole and covered up. She was trying to erase Evelyn from being in her life, from Evelyn being a person. That happened on February 28th, where a man who is now living there said they had dug up some soft ground near the home. The soft ground extended under the trailer. TBI along the way gives a couple different tips, updates on the story. Nothing majorly significant is coming out at this point because TBI and Hawkins County, or excuse me, Sullivan County, are circling their wagons. They're focused and they're bullseyeing on Megan. On March 2nd, it finally happens. Megan and Boswell appeared in court before a judge. She was officially charged with false reporting, and she was given a $25,000 bail that was actually being asked to be reduced to $10,000. The judge said no. The parents met McLeod and Mary Boswell. Their charges were eventually dropped. They found them to be not significant, and just it was just a false story in the in the whole what they were really focused on, which was Evelyn Boswell. And they didn't care about them, and they reduced them to lesser charges. And then it happened. March 6th, 2020. TBI investigation. TBI made an announcement that the remains, believing to belong to the little Miss Evelyn Boswell, were found at a property that belonged to a family member of Megan Boswell's. March 9th, Megan Boswell was officially charged with the death of her daughter, and her bond was raised to $150,000. Now, there's been a lot of court proceedings and a lot of stammering going on as far as what's going on in the court system, and what's going on, and why is this taking so long, and it's going to be 3 years. Here's the difference in what Tennessee is doing. They're taking their time to get it right. They want to lock the key up, and they want to lock her behind a gate, bars, whatever you want to call it, and they want to throw that key away when they lock up Megan. She killed her child. 15-month-old child. Unfortunately, I was planning on showing a video of her walking around, and just to give you an idea of how much her grandparents loved her and how she was adored by her grandparents. However, that has disappeared from being available online. It's no longer available. But we have the like I said, there's a thread. And you could even add onto this, what happened to Chance and Sincere. There's that thread again. Their parents chose fiction over reality. What stands out so much more in this case to me is that she was just a toddler, just became a toddler, not even quite becoming a toddler. She's on the brink of becoming a toddler. So it's not like it was Summer Wells, where she was speaking, talking, playing. You could see what her personality was. You could see how much she was that her life had a positive direction to it. Or even Caylee Anthony, where she had been 3 years old, definitely a toddler. 15 months old, they're just starting to understand who they are and show their personality. and that when they smile, when their eyes get bright and they go into a room and they see somebody and they go running, charging, and just give them this big, huge, massive hug, you can't help but know that that little girl brightened up that person's day. No matter how down that person may have been, that little girl just changed that person's day with that hug. She never had a chance in life. Stories like this should never happen. They're children. Yes, Carrie, you are correct. She was wrapped up in a blanket with a pillow and toys and clothes in the shed. Double rainbows, you're exactly right. And all three of them. And yes, I'm including Summer Wells. And all three of them, it's the same thing. We're going to find out in the end that their life was just absolutely discarded as if it didn't matter. Yeah, I know tonight that I'm not talking about the big stories. I'm going to draw 1,000 people to watch this story. I don't care. Her grandparents are patiently awaiting, nervously awaiting February 20th, 2013, or excuse me, 2023. I know they just pushed back the date. It was supposed to her court date was supposed to start in September, and they estimated it was going to take approximately a month for the court hearing. Prior update to it being moved to February 23rd was that the judge was having to go through thousands of documents, photos, statements from people that this little girl had an impact on life with, that wanted to be part of the hearing to attest that her mom had done this, and the stories and lies that she was always being told since she was even in high school. Friends have spoken up later of hers that her mom never was trustworthy, never was known to know the truth, say the truth. And yes, I did put my trigger warning back up. There's two reasons I wanted to talk about Evelyn Boswell tonight. I knew it wasn't going to be a very long story. Evelyn Boswell, even though she had been missing for a few months, the police unraveled the story very quickly. When I went to the the memorial service for Summer Wells the other day, the one person that came up to me and introduced themselves to me and found out who I was and realized that I always have something positive to say about this area. I always have something positive to say about the Cities, and that it's a beautiful area to live in. It truly is. Two reasons I want to talk about Evelyn Boswell tonight. One is that the police, the TBI, the sheriff's departments, they do care. They're doing everything right to make sure that what happened to Caylee Anthony and the court trial that was rushed with Casey Anthony doesn't happen again. Doesn't happen in Tennessee. Long ago, at the very beginning of when Summer Wells had went missing, Summer Wells was the first child to go missing in Tennessee that fell under Evelyn Boswell's law. If a parent does not report a child missing in Tennessee within 12 hours of the child missing, let me double check myself to make sure I got that number right. My apologies. I said 12 hours. It's within 24 hours of determining that a child is gone missing. The parents are automatically, legally held accountable, arrested for not reporting their child is missing. That's one positive thing that has come out of this, out of Evelyn Boswell, where there was no statute, no law written about that to support that, to say that this child has to be reported within a certain amount of time if they go missing. It's now a law, and was a law before Summer Wells went missing. The reason that the court case had been pushed back to February 2023 is that for procedure reasons, they need more time to go through everything. And it's a due process reason that they're pushing it back. It's not that anybody's trying to pull any tactic to make it be later or anything like that. It's simply that they need more time to be prepared. Megan Boswell will be facing, and ultimately, I believe, will be found guilty of felony murder and filing false reports. It's another story of if the parent came forward and said an accident happened and I panicked, that this whole thing would have had a different outcome. It wouldn't be the story that it is. It wouldn't be the story that it is that nobody's talking about. Yes, I know it's not the mysterious. It's not the mysterious story where Summer Wells is still missing, and you have the parents are still out, and they've been running their mouth, and they've been saying all sorts of things, and all the drama that has been attracted to it. But what Megan had done was to Evelyn was a copycat of Caylee Anthony had done to Caylee, who in turn they were the Wells were given information of how to attempt to play a decoy game with the police by looking at what both Caylee Anthony had done, by what Megan Boswell had done. And we see all the shifts. Now, if you look back on it and you pay attention to the interview room, you see all the different shifts in the story. Oh, I didn't say that. I didn't mean that. This is what I meant. This is what I was trying to say. That all comes out a day later, the day after they make a statement, and they realize they have to cover up what they said. Each one of these is the parent that cried wolf. Guys, I had made it. I knew that I wasn't going to be talking about Caylee Anthony, not Caylee Anthony, but my apologies. Evelyn Boswell for a long time tonight. Her story is not a long story. I'm going to go ahead and post the link for the chat. If you want to join me up on stream, anybody is welcome to do so. Anybody is welcome to do so, to come up and join me. It's pinned at the top of the chat now. And any of the three missing kid stories that we talked about tonight, or be welcome to talk about. Or if you have another topic you want to talk about, you're welcome to bring that up. I didn't announce that I was going to have an open floor tonight. I know that does attract some people to come in when they normally don't. Oreo, how are you doing? How did your grandbaby do, Oreo? I know whose softball game you were at, Oreo. I'm just asking how she did. Or should I be waiting for her mama to brag? Oh, congratulations to her. You know, the stories that we talked about tonight and how heavy and how dark they are and how deep they are, it's great to have great news. Hello, Double Rainbows. Thank you for joining us. How are you this evening?
I'm okay. I just wanted to vent real quickly.
Please,
The
that's a perfect night for tonight.
um, but not angrily. It's just really sad and shameful. I was in the chat mentioning there's so many couples that can't have children, like my daughter, who would be very honored and to provide to parent her or any child, whether they be purple, black, red, white. They're all so precious. And I just don't understand why, because you can drop them off at a church. There's fire stations that you don't have to, you can do it anonymously if you
Not,
can't. And that's
not every single state is that way, but you're right. Most states have an amnesty program where
go to it. Oops, I'm sorry.
Where if you don't feel that you are a fit parent and you want to turn your children into the foster care system, you're exactly right. You can just go over to a fire department, a police station. You don't even have to go to them. You can go to the hospital. Give them a fake name of yours. No birth certificate, nothing. Put a note on, pin a note onto a car seat saying, "My name is," with the child's name on it, and walk out the door.
I mean, you can even do it and say your name for that matter. It's not, I don't understand. Someone else, I agree with them, said, I share how they don't understand being discarded like scrap metal.
Well, that's the thing is that Evelyn Boswell, just to use her as an example, she's living at home with her at one point, or after she had moved. She actually was living in the mobile home I mentioned, then went back home, was living in her parents' house. Okay. Could have very easily said, "I am struggling. I need you to take care of my child." Even though there was a history of issues, like I said, there was that BMW car issue, which would have never happened if she had spoken up and said, "I'm struggling. I need you to take care of my daughter for a while until I can get things going the right track again." I can guarantee you, from the interviews that I've seen from her biological dad and stepmom, or her own mom and her boyfriend, they would have stepped up and said, "Yes, we will take it. We will do so."
So what if Caylee Anthony's parents? She definitely was wanted with them.
Oh, absolutely. Caylee Anthony, her or Caylee Anthony. I'm sorry. I don't. I try. When it comes to stories, I try to focus on victims and not the person who did it.
Sorry.
So no, you're fine. I'm just saying it. I'm correcting myself. I'm not correcting you. I'm correcting myself. Caylee Anthony, her grandparents, her grandfather adored her. Adored her.
Yeah.
And it's not in the way that Don Wells adored Summer, guys. I mean, this is genuine. This is my grandchild. My grandchild can do no wrong. I'm going to do everything I can do for my grandchild type of adoring. It's the way a parent and a grandparent should feel.
That's the next thing I was going to say. I don't have any grandkids yet, and I'm 58, and I would have been honored to be a grandparent to that precious little girl. So that's all I wanted to say. I'm going to jump back down. it's just a shame, and I don't understand why. And it doesn't need to occur, because there are so many that can't have children that are loving and can provide. And
Yeah, yeah, yeah. You know, I'm not a perfect. I was never a perfect parent. I was never a great parent. You
no
know,
such thing, actually.
I was with my ex-wife, and for the length of time that I was with our child, and for reasons I don't discuss online, personal reasons, I had to take a step away from the relationship, and I had to take a step back from being dad. And a lot of things happened. A lot of things happened. A lot of things got put in between to destroy a relationship between my son and myself. But if my ex-wife had ever said, I just can't, in a heartbeat, I would have dropped everything and taken care of my son.
Exactly. Remember when I shared last night when I was lacking as a parent because my priority were my prescription drugs?
Mm-hmm.
Um, well, the reason why I started going to the 12-step rooms and quit making it, it was for my kids. I
Mm-hmm.
mean, I did. How can Exactly. You and I share that in common. How can the kids not come first? I mean, I recognize I did how can you not change for your children, especially, you know what I mean. I'm not very good at
No, you're doing fine. You're absolutely doing fine. I
articulating.
I apologize for the clinking of ice there. I'm just drinking some water. You're doing perfectly fine. Don't worry about that. Um, yeah, my son is an adult now, legally an adult. So, he can he does what he wants to do now. There's nothing I can very little I can say about that.
I guess I'll
And
share. Oh, go ahead.
no, I was just clearing the air about that so nobody thinks I'm a horrible person. I have nothing to do with my son. He's adult. He can do whatever he wishes to do now. And the thing is that um, unfortunately, sometimes adults make stupid decisions.
Just like me. The best
And
meeting I ever went to, an all these meetings, Alateen, Al-Anon, AA, Narcotics Anonymous, once a year they celebrate their anniversary of when their groups were formed.
mhm,
And our AA one was in the hospital, and it was the Alateens' anniversary, but at the last minute they lost their room. So we gladly gave them our room. I remained there as a parent myself, and the woman I was sponsoring had a young child. Long story short, after listening to the three teenagers share their stories about what it was like living with alcoholic, addictive parents, I couldn't stop crying. I cried all the way home. And that was the best meeting, or the most effective, productive meeting I ever went to. And it made me I realize what I was doing to my own kids. So
right.
I guess yeah, but there is no such thing as a perfect parent, I want to tell you.
No, I know that. I know that.
Uh,
Life
I
happens
just
for
don't
various reasons.
I just don't understand. See, my husband was a great father, So you knew your kids were in good hands, and I knew that he was a good father. But I mean, when it comes down to it, I don't understand parents who don't change for the sake of their children.
Right.
It's very mean, evil, and cruel, and it can't, especially when it can be avoided. I'm repeating myself. I'm sorry.
No, you're fine. You're fine, because sometimes when you repeat yourself, you're driving home a point. You're driving a point, and sometimes that point needs to be heard. So don't worry about that.
Okay, well, thanks for letting me vent that, because it is triggering. It is triggering to me.
Absolutely. Just before you go, I just want to, since you're here and not in the YouTube, I want to make sure you hear this. I didn't ignore and I didn't say, but I'm going to go ahead and say it now, that Evelyn Boswell went missing somewhere around December 26th, 2019. The reason I say somewhere around is that that is the last time anybody has any knowledge of or they can get the closest thing they can get an answer from Megan out of her. The only time that they actually have a confirmed date was the babysitter who actually said that had her and was keeping her at one point, saying it was for ransom, alluding that she was kidnapped, was December 10th or 11th. So we're talking that she was missing for a month before she was reported missing.
Same thing as Caylee is the little girl, right?
Right.
I always
Yep.
mix up their names. I didn't mean to say Casey, because I'm like you. I pay attention to the victim.
It's so easily to do so. I'm not worried about it. I was not correcting you. I was correcting myself.
It's okay. And the same thing for, I call them Classic and Sincere. I refuse to call them by their adoptive names. What you're just mentioning about Evelyn being evasive as to when exactly she went missing.
Mm-hmm.
I can't wait till the upcoming court date, because the boys, I always say, where are our boys? Because I consider all kids our kids instead of where are the boys. They disappeared 2 months and never even went to Cali City before they were.
Yeah. That's the latest word on that it was approximately 3 months before they moved to Cal City.
And they are adorable. I mean, I just don't understand. I might have been lacking as a parent, but I sure am not evil like that. I can't understand any of that.
Oh, absolutely.
And at least I'm accountable. I mean, come on, Evelyn, be accountable.
The thing about with the about myself, what I said about not being the greatest of parents and having to be selfish and put my own issues ahead. It was always an attempt and always in my plan to be there for my son. When you're dealing with depression and finding out that you're bipolar and things like that, it's a major life change. And that's exactly what I went through. And with a lot of help and a lot of personal discipline, it's taken a long time, but I finally got myself to a point where I'm in control.
So you were trying to figure all that out to be a good parent. I'll share real quickly. I went through the same thing. I had a traumatic childhood. That's why I was addicted a, an addict in the first place because I was trying to forget all that. But nowadays, they're just now discovering that bipolar and PTSD have the same symptoms. So for years, I was trying all those bipolar meds just to find out that I have PTSD. So but the positive in all of that is I went through all that hell so the generations after us don't have to go through that. I try to look at the positive, and I'll do it all over again because the children are our future, and I don't want them to go through that. I was a lab rat, I suppose.
I wouldn't say a lab rat. I used to listen to a man that does a national radio show. He's a talk show, and he's very candid about his battles with how he had substance abuse issues, alcoholism issues, and he puts it this way: is that his battle that he goes through and what he battles every single day to be a better man for his children and not be the person that he was, is he's kicking a can down the road. Not that his children will have to deal with it later in life, but he's kicking it to the point where kicking it down the road so they never have to deal with it. So they see what a man's supposed to be, what a dad is supposed to be. And that's honestly the way I look at it, is that, yeah, I've had my issues and I had to deal with my issues, but that's exactly what I did, is I kicked the can down the road. So somebody that he wouldn't have to deal with that, because it's not it's not his battle to deal with.
Unlike you, though, until not until like in the last 7 years, you would not have. I was a totally different. I was like Don, since you're bringing summer comparisons into this. The whole world's against me. Pour me a drink. Everything is not my fault. It's everyone else's fault. He's lamenting, like he mentioned last night, that he doesn't have summer to SA anymore and that he got cut and where he's at now.
Yes.
So I'm just grateful that I can be accountable now. My kids have forgiven me. They were mad at first. I don't know. I guess that irritates me too. Usually we learn in the rooms when someone irritates you or make just bothers you, it's because you see something in them that's in yourself. And Don really infuriates me because I kind of shared that with him. I played the victim. And I'm just grateful that I learned in the rooms. And plus, having cancer, facing death made a difference too. That I'm accountable now, and forgiven. And I went from a victim to a survivor. And the reason why I'm in true crime is I never received justice, but it's not about me anymore because I'm a survivor now, not a victim. My justice is the justice for today's victims, and we all sure would like to prevent future victims. And with that, I'll shush. Sorry, I went off on a little tangent, but
Don't have to apologize.
Just to because you all are so kind to welcome me into your community. I shared that, so you might as well get to know me a little.
No, I appreciate that. Um,
Okay.
Thank you very much. I know you said you still wanted to step down a couple times, so I'll be more than happy to let you do so if you're ready to do so.
Someone else's turn. Come on. All right, I'm down.
Okay, guys. Like I said, I didn't put it out that this is going to be an open panel night. I knew that the story for Evelyn Boswell is not going to be a long one, and I wasn't going to go into, didn't need to go into Caylee Anthony story information. Everybody knows that, and everybody is still fresh in their mind about Summer Wells. But this is open panel time. Anybody's welcome to come up and join me. No pressure, though, of course. While I'm waiting for anybody to decide to come up and join me, I went last night. John Q was on late last night. And in some ways, he reiterated what I said the previous night. In that there has to be a point where you just stop, take a step back, and look what's going on. Evaluate what's going on. And see what you need to do to get better, get stronger as a person, as a creator. And they're doing, and I was part of the panel. I was given information on what happened to Jermaine Covington, which if you have not seen it, please go take a look at what Bossman Blake had done. It's on his channel. And then the other day, Thursday, I believe it was Wednesday, actually, I believe it's either Wednesday or Thursday. My apologies, I don't remember off the top of my head. It was on John Q's channel, and tomorrow night it will be back on Bossman Blake's channel. They've been doing an absolutely wonderful job of reporting an absolutely horrendous story. Oreo, yeah, I don't think he did. I think he got everybody. An absolutely horrendous story that deserves to be heard. They're doing the third installment tomorrow night. I believe. You're gonna have to forgive me for 1 second. I'm actually looking up what time that is for. That is, looks like it's set to be 6 p.m. on the East Coast tomorrow night. Absolutely tragic story of a man who was only intending to go pick up his wife from the airport, who happened to be bipolar and having a bad day. So bad the end result was grave. Double rainbows is exactly right. There was absolutely no excuse for that. The outcome of that. There's just no reason for it. Does anybody else want to hop up here and join me for a few moments? Link is pinned at the top of the chat. If not, don't feel pressure, guys. I'm just making an offer to say, hey, you guys are welcome to come up and join me. I know some people are shy about speaking in public. It's just a conversation between you and I, just like you're talking on a telephone. Or yeah, you're right. There was definitely a day and age where if you had a mental defect of any kind, they just put you in the hospital. They didn't want society dealing with it. Somebody like me, yeah, I'm bipolar, and I don't need medication. I've gotten to the point where yeah, it's strange. Somebody can say they don't need medication when 99% of the people out there need medication. But for me, therapy works better. Just therapy works better. But if you do have mental health issues, don't think I'm encouraging anybody to get off your meds. If you're on meds, you're on them for a reason. Stick to the plan that you have. Yes, the Stardust, it absolutely can be. Oreo, she said she was going to have to catch it on the replay, but promised that she was definitely looking forward to doing so. I was speaking to her earlier today, and I said she needed to go enjoy her being a parent, sports mom parent night. Her enjoying her family and being a mom tonight was more important, and that she can catch this on the replay without a problem. But yeah, absolutely. We do miss her though. Guys, if you haven't already done so, I didn't know I didn't have a big audience tonight. And I knew that I wasn't going to be talking about a popular story or topic tonight. Because Caylee Anthony was 17 years ago. Think about that. She would have been 20 years old now. Evelyn Boswell. 15 months when she went missing. December 2019. So she would have been just about Summer's age. Just about Summerwell's age. Double rainbows, and that's exactly, I was saying that. Thank you for saying that, double rainbows. I was saying that John Q had said something on his live last night, which really, really late last night. But if you want to go and see how something that is way beyond how eloquent I could have possibly worded it, it's what John Q did last night. And he so eloquently worded the direction that my channel is going to go into. We're going to return back to the roots of what I was starting to do. Yeah, I know I'm not a brand new channel. I'm not a huge channel. To say to go back to the roots, it seems strange. When I started my channel, every single night, the first thing I had was a top 5 list. And most nights we talked about Summer Wells. I had a top 5 list of stories that were not being talked about nationally, that I always felt that needed to be talked about, that needed national attention. And I talked about them. I took about a half an hour's time. Some stories were short, some stories were longer. And I followed up with them. Just to give you an example of what I'm talking about. Bear with me a second here, guys. I'm pulling up some information real quick here. There was an endangered child alert. I was mentioning this the last night that last time that Bossman Blake was on my channel. There was an endangered child alert on a baby out of Fort Pierce, Florida. His name is Azan Lisby. Azan Lisby went missing the day he was born. Let me say that again so that everybody understands I did not misspeak. Azan Lisby went missing on the day that he was born. His parents and his mom and what appears to be his stepdad had decided they were going to go on a road trip for 2 months. Two months. Bossman Blake, thank and where the wind blows. Thank you. No, guys, don't apologize for being late. I'm not very far from wrapping up, but if you want, we can. It's open. It's open panel time. The links at the top of the chat. Anybody's welcome to join. We can go over a little bit of what I did talk about tonight, and right now I'm talking about what the sort of what John Q had spoken about last night. Okay. Azan Lisby went missing for 2 months. Then they finally found him and his parents. Five days later, both of his parents were arrested for being the cause, the abuse, the neglect, and the cause of a sibling of Azan Lisby demise. I went on a rant. Miss Carrie's still here. She'll be able to tell you. I went on a rant when I found that story. I was fuming when I found that story of how a baby, no matter if they're in the custodial custody of their own parents, if you're issuing at a point that the child is 2 months old and there's been no follow-up, no doctor's appointments, but no, and you already were suspecting that these parents were the cause of an older sibling's demise. How do you not how do you not have an Amber Alert for him? Not just an endangered child report. Oreo, that didn't happen not very long ago either. Memphis had an issue. It was within the past 6 months. It was this year where a parent tried to take a hot baby out of a hospital before being released. John Q made an excellent point, and like I said, he's very much more eloquent about the being able to discuss or the way he worded it. Bossman, you'll be able to help with the wording, I'm sure. But he said that serious channels don't go on every single day. Serious channels take on small stories that nobody's paying attention to. And granted, I'm paraphrasing. Guys, we may some nights only get 4 people in here talking, and I'll talk for 10 hours if I have to. If a story is that important. Do I look forward to talking for 10 hours? No. Will I? Abso-freaking-lutely. It's the direction we're going to be going in. I'm going back to where I started this channel, where these stories deserve, even though we might talk about stories getting national attention, these stories, I come up with a top 5, top 6, top however many. I put them at the top of the show because they deserve even more attention than the story that's being covered on a national level. I'm not pretending that I'm some huge creator that I'm getting 10,000 views. Never going to faze me if I do or don't. I was thrilled when I got 100 views on a video that I was extremely passionate about, which is sitting at 119 views. If that's my highest view count ever, I'm thrilled. Because that video was pure honesty, pure emotion. And not that I'm not being honest whenever I come on here and speak. That was from my gut. About how I felt that it was ridiculous that the Pop-Tart trial had gotten so much attention, but a grand jury handing down indictments on what happened in Buffalo at Tops grocery store was a backstory. It's why I love working with Bossman Blake, and thank you very much for joining me, coming in tonight, Bossman. It's why I love working with John Q. Because we care about the small stories first. We care about that. We're going to put the small stories out there first. We're still going to talk about the big topics. And frankly, we're going to talk about the controversial topics that nobody else wants to. We're going to do so with respect and with honor. Not that we haven't had an issue with that so far, but I'm just giving you guys, letting you know the direction that we're heading in. John Q had worded it so perfectly last night that I encourage everybody to go watch what John Q said last night. And if you don't know who I'm speaking of when I say John Q, I know not everybody is in my chat is true crime. Some of the people I have come in are more of paranormal. I do get that kind of crowd, and I enjoy that. Don't think nothing of that is wrong. I don't think it is. I get a mix of both. If you hadn't seen the video I'm talking about from John Q, Bear with me a second, and we post it in the chat. Where the wind blows. I started going on John Q from early on with Summer Wells. I was with a different channel, or not with, but I was part of a new channel, a different channel at the time that was doing true crime, but has decided to, or had since then decided not to do true crime, where I felt that that was something I was very passionate about and wanted to continue on doing. Took some time to, but I did open my own channel after a while. But for a while there, I was going on with John Q lives, and when he was talking about Summer Wells. If you were with me on Thursday night, we had tech issues. I had tech issues. Something I tested earlier in the day didn't work when I was live. I can't guarantee I'm not going to have tech issues again. This is probably my 20th video making a YouTube video. Started on my own. It was me and Carrie. I think somebody just subscribed, and that's my 75th subscriber. Or right about 75 in 2 months' time. Do you know how proud I am of that 75? Granted, you know, I've talked to other channels, and they realized I was a creator, and that I had a good sense of on my head, and they've been grateful to gracious enough to go ahead and tell people to go ahead and check me out. And I'm very proud of that, having 75, or right about 75 right now. So this is a huge time. Thank you to anybody that's a subscriber of mine. Y'all mean a lot to me. Where the wind blows, I'm not worried about that day. It will come when it comes. But I want to make sure y'all understand the direction I'm going and why I'm going in it. I don't know if Boss Man Blake's still with us, or he just popped in and only could stay a moment. Grateful for him to do so. Carrie, I know I saw you last night in that chat with John Q. But he, in a very eloquent way that I had tried to put on Wednesday and Thursday, and I'm not that eloquent to have said the way he did, but it was perfectly said. Well, Boss Man, I want to thank you very much. That's why I was saying your name. Thank you very much for supporting me and promoting my channel. I really do appreciate it. But this is the man that tomorrow night, like I was saying earlier, this is the man tomorrow night that's talking about Jermaine Covington. I would encourage everybody to show up. I know there's not many people here with me tonight, but anybody that watches on replay, I would encourage anybody to show up. I got a feeling that tomorrow night's going to be a huge night on his channel with this story. Just roll with it. How are you tonight? Even though I have the topic, guys, tonight as being from Caylee Anthony to Summer Wells, how does Evelyn Boswell fit in? We're at a point tonight where it's open mic, open floor. I have a link pinned at the top of the chat. Anybody is welcome to join me, and anything's on the table to talk about tonight. Just roll with it. I'm doing really good. To me, Evelyn Boswell is an extremely emotional story because it's really the story that captivated me and got me into true crime. I've always followed like major stories. I've followed Caylee Anthony. I followed other stories and nationally before, but Evelyn Boswell, there was just something different about Evelyn Boswell that it's honestly it's her eyes. The eyes in this exact photo. Bear with me a second here while I pop it up here. Her eyes in this very exact photo. That little smile that I only got my lower two front teeth and a few teeth on top. Hooks just sunk into me. And you talk to any creator that does true crime, there's always one. There's always one story that gets you stuck, gets you locked in. And for me, Evelyn Boswell was the one. Her eyes are just so full of promise, innocence. 15 months old, and you could tell she just lights up a room. For those of you who were with me when we went over this, I know I'm repeating myself, but that's honestly how I feel. Then where the wind blows, you know exactly what I'm talking about. When I say that, they come running in, they see you, they come running in the room, and all they want is that hug. Boss man, you're good. I appreciate you joining me and listening. They just come running in that room They might stumble and fall, but they get up and they come running back in that room because they see you and they want to give you a hug. That's all they want. That hug. And you could just tell that she had that hug. No matter how bad your day may have been, whew, it was gone. But when you look at the story and you look at how I presented it, she was the bridge between Caylee Anthony and Summer Wells. What Evelyn Boswell's mom did was a copycat of Caylee Anthony. And then what the Wells did with how much they just kept shifting their story, changing what they were saying. It was a copycat of what Megan Boswell had done in the press and to the police. I apologize, guys. I'm still drinking the water that comes off that ice that's melting. I apologize for that rattling noise. That's all it is. Her story, Evelyn's story, inspired a law. Just like Michael Vaughn did, Brandy did with Michael Vaughn, inspired a change in the laws. No, I have not. Where the Wind Blows. In Oreo, yes, it is absolutely heartbreaking. For Tennessee or Idaho? There's some times I will let a word or two slip, but I try to watch what I say carefully. Oh, for Idaho? Okay. I'll definitely have to look into him. Yeah, well, Brandy. If you don't know who Brandy is, it's Michael Vaughn's mom. Um, she is doing her best to keep it together and turn what's an absolutely tragic situation into a positive. And I feel really bad for them both, for that whole family, because they're holding on to hope of him coming home. And I don't blame them from doing so. Just makes your heart break that they're having to go through that. No parent, no parent. You know, it's one thing if you turn around and your little kid wanders 5, 10 feet from you, and you don't see him. You normally you see him out of the corner of your eye, and you know they're there, and you know they're okay. But you turn just an angle where you can't see them, and you turn where you know where they were. You know precisely where they were. Say you're in a clothes store shopping, and they duck into playing a little game of hide and go seek that they didn't tell you, or they're just wandering around and playing rounding around, and they duck through a clothing rack, and you can't see them. That instant panic that sets in, that instant fear, that instant loss of control of all emotions. You can tell that Brandy's gone through that and goes through that every single time. And she puts her through that herself through that every single time she has a chance to speak about her little monkey, Michael Vaughn. Because she knows she has to keep his name out there. I got down this trail of talking about Michael Vaughn, and went back to talking about Evelyn Boswell for a moment. Daniel Robinson is another one, guys. I believe it's his dad. I don't remember his name, his dad's name, but "Where the Wind Blows." I'm sure if you know it better, you know the story better than I. But every another story where every single chance his dad can speak about his son missing, he puts his there you go, Mr. David. He puts himself through an emotional ringer, and it's not that these parents want to do this, because they're re-traumatizing it, and bringing those emotions back up. It's because they know they have to keep their child's name out there. The one thing I will definitely be doing, and I said it about when Evelyn Boswell goes to court, or when that court date fine comes up, I will be on a lot when that happens to give updates, to talk about what I hear locally. Because if you're not familiar with um, where Evelyn was from, Evelyn Boswell was not much far from me, just in a different direction, getting on the highway, traveling down about a half an hour, as Summer Wells was. So when they finally hold trial, hopefully it will be in February. You will hear from me a lot that week or those couple weeks. But I usually only try to go on 2 or 3 times a week myself. Yep. There you go, Boss Man Blake. There's another one. I honestly, I can say I do not know a whole lot about. Boss Man, if you're home and can jump up and want to talk about Cody Bigsby really quick, I'll be more than happy to keep the stream going. I honestly can say I don't know much about him. I recognize the name, but I don't know the story. But all these stories, all these lives, slipping through the cracks because media biased or one reason or another. It needs to stop. Every single one of these stories deserves national attention. I know there's a little girl I found a couple months ago, and I didn't follow up on it recently, and I need to get back to following up on it. There's a little girl missing out of Houston, in Houston, Texas area, in which I'll have to go back and through my lives to find her name and everything. But the little girl was about to have a program equal to EquiSearch come out and do a search because this little girl went missing from an apartment complex's playground. And this is back in, I want to say, right around Christmas time, December. And they had to actually cancel the searches because individuals were coming out and threatening the search parties. That's another story we got to get back to talking about. Like I said, I have to go back and honestly, I don't remember. Oreo, you might be right. But a little girl in Houston, Texas. And Bossman, thank you very much for joining me. I appreciate that.
Oh, no problem, man. I was typing in your chat and realized I wasn't up to speed with y'all, so I had to press the live button to catch up. So when I typed in Cody Bigsby, if you said anything about that, I did not hear it because I hit the little live button to catch up because I was behind. So that's why I came
No,
up to make sure you ain't asked any questions about who the hell Cody Bigsby was.
That's exactly what I was asking. And that's exactly what I said is I invited you to come up and speak about Cody Bigsby because while I recognize the name, I've heard you and John Q talk about it. I can honestly say I don't know about it. I don't know his story.
Yeah, Cody Bigsby is another kid who just mysteriously went missing. His father had custody of him and his brothers. And one morning he woke up and his son was gone. The last time he seen his son was 2 o'clock the previous morning. I guess when he put him to sleep. Now, this time that it happened, it was snowing. It was super cold. It was snowing. So there was no evidence of anybody broke in the house. So they eliminated that. So there's no way he just went outside and took a jog in the snow at the age of what, 4 years old. So police, they don't feel like he's alive. So it's gonna be a search and recovery. The father has been arrested, but not for his disappearance. He did mention to police when they interrogated him that he has left his kids in the house, and I think the oldest one wasn't nothing but maybe 6, if that. And he would go and be gone for hours and leaving kids that small in the house. And he had just recently done it prior to Cody going missing. So they treated that as neglect, and he has been arrested. So he's sitting in jail for those charges, but still no charges for Cody. And he's been missing for a while. This happened, I want to say in January, but I got to go back and look because I haven't seen any updates on it recently. So I just wanted to bring that to your attention.
Absolutely, and I appreciate it. The chat is asking, hello, Nana's Angels. The chat is asking, where are Cody's siblings? Do you know any information about that? Are they in foster care, with family?
They of course they took the kids and put them in foster care, just like they did Candace's kid. He's to me to do something like leave your kids, and this is why he said he left them behind instead of taking them, because he had went and bought a car from a different city. And he said it would have been too much of a hassle to take the kids with him. Doing your kids, dude. What are you talking about? So of course, they took the kids and they haven't returned them to him yet. But it's just been so long, and of course, just like I was telling you the other day, they said they searching for a body, but they won't say that about Summer. And I just don't understand why, because it's been a whole year for Summer. You know what I'm saying? And for Cody, it's only been, I want to say, 6 months, something like that.
Well, I just happened to have Googled his name, and as of May 10th, it was 100 days. So May, June, you're looking at another 30 days. So yeah, we're approaching 6 months, 5-6 months.
Yeah, hold on 1 second. I'm going to go on mute. I'm in the store. Give me 1 second.
You're fine. So, like I said, I'm looking at this just raw, brand new, guys. I recognize the name, but I've never looked at the story. So forgive me. I may stammer a little bit here and give you information as I see it. I'm looking at a report from WAVY.com. It's 10 on your side. New Year's Eve. First reported his son missing on New Year's Eve. Corey is the father's name. Police he originally told the police that he saw his son at 2 a.m. Then they reported him missing around 9 a.m. So 7 hours after he had last seen him. Police did not issue an Amber Alert because they do not believe Cody was abducted. That sounds like a familiar story. Police don't believe in abduction in an abduction story.
That's crazy. Real crazy. Oh, man.
Although the police have named Corey as a person of interest in his son's disappearance, he is not being formally charged in connection with his disappearance.
He's been denied bond 4 times, bro. And they feel like he's a flight risk. And he did it while he was in the service. So he was actually supposed to be on base somewhere. And he was back in the United States with some female. But he denied those claims, but the investigator found this information out himself. So they just feel like he's a flight risk, so they're not going to let him out. And none of the story that he provided, the detectives when they interrogated him, added up. So there's no other suspect but him. They're not looking at nobody else but Corey. So I guess it's just they're waiting for him to just fess up.
That's what it seems like. Either that or they're trying to, trap him in what he is saying.
Yeah.
Or has said.
Yeah. Yeah. I just wanted to, bring that case up because that's another one I've been working on, but really haven't been any updates on it but him trying to get out of jail. That's about it.
Right. And it's kind of one of those deals where you understand that the police need to make their case, and there's certain information they need to protect. Just like if I know, Boss Man, you don't follow or had not been following Summer Wells very closely, and you may have missed the video about the phone call that had dropped today that supposedly happened about 2 or 3 months ago.
Yeah, I missed that. I didn't hear nothing about
that. The phone call alleges, guys, please remember this is alleged. If you want to, if you go to,
is this in the news or this is from a YouTuber?
YouTube. It's a YouTube. Voices Behind Shit or something like that is the YouTube channel name. It's on there. So I'm not familiar with the if they're like a parody type of deal or whatnot. Thank you, Carrie, for throwing that up there. I was actually about to ask you for that. This content and discussion is opinionated and allegedly, where they're alleging that a phone call happened between Benny Keys and the person that is dating or was dating the caseworker for the Summer Wells boys. And is claiming that they know what happened to Summer Wells. They can't talk about it.
The case?
They cannot talk about it.
Well, now again, when you guys, say they, who are you speaking of?
Everybody and anybody. Everybody and anybody. Now, again, guys, as Carrie put it up there for me, this content in discussion is opinion and alleged. Okay.
It's just like when you hear that type of story about people being, tight-lipped, or people can't say something, or no one can say anything. You ever ask yourself, what is it about this case and this particular kid or person that's missing that makes this case so, I guess, mysterious, where you can't say nothing, or maybe your life might be in danger if you do. You know what I'm saying? Like when I hear stuff like that, I be like, but why? Is it some higher powers that will kill you if you say something? That's what I be thinking. You feel me?
Oh, I listened to the video, and I'll be more than happy to send you a link to the video. I'm not going to play it on my channel
No,
because
you don't.
I don't like the fact that the way they did to talk about what this video is alleging happened to Summer.
Oh, so let's go in depth on what happened.
Not in great detail, but enough where you know what they're saying.
Gotcha. All right.
And it's not respectful to, or not necessary to say that that what they're saying happened, or they're alleging what happened to a child. It's not necessary to say that. Just to simply say that it was not that there was not natural causes, as this video alludes to, is more than suffice. And illness is a natural cause. Some form of sudden illness is a natural cause, even though it's not the it's still a natural cause. Where this is what they were saying is not a natural cause. Carrie, I'm sure I know exactly where you're going. She's keeping her filter on. Honestly, I'm not sure about this video because two reasons. And this is my opinion on this video. Okay. I named the channel it was from. I'm not playing the video, so we're all good. Here's my opinion on that video. One, we're only hearing half the story. We're only hearing the fact that a person, a third-party person, is making contact with Benny Keys to say they have a friend. So we're now a friend of a friend type of situation who's dating somebody. How many times have we heard that story? A friend of a friend who's dating my third cousin on my grandmother's side. Okay, so you understand where my suspicion is already very high.
Absolutely.
About it being a legitimate phone call. All right. But we only hear this tiny little clip of a bit about it being set up that they're going to make contact with this person that's dating the supposed caseworker. Well, if it got out on the internet that this was the supposed caseworker, they're no longer the caseworker. With how highly sensitive this case is, they're no longer the caseworker. They've been reassigned to another state, another county. They're nowhere on this near this case any longer. Okay. And I actually give Benny Keys credit on this video. He is insistent that he has to speak directly to the source. And then after he hears this, gets told this, records this, what the person is saying, he has to go to his lawyer and go through channels that with his lawyer. So I honestly believe that even Benny Keys' skepticism was high. But for some reason, somebody got hold of this supposed phone call recording and has put it out on YouTube. That's just my opinion of it, my skepticism on it. Bossman, if you're talking, I think you muted yourself.
I don't really go by. If he say, she say, it gotta be credible. And if it's that important for a YouTuber to find out and it not hit the news, then I can't go with it. I can't go with it. And it could be true. It could be true, but I can't go with it.
Right. Exactly. Now, I'll talk about something like that, and I'll just like I did tonight. I'll express my opinion, my concerns about it.
Right.
And my concerns are extremely high.
You gotta think about it. For them to tell a random YouTuber,
right? Yeah, exactly. They're alleging that the TBI and the police are already aware, and they're just not going to speak about it. This whole investigation thing is a scam. That's what the phone call is alleging.
So now the whole Summer Willis case is a scam.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah.
I heard that about Caylee Jenkins too.
Oh goodness. Okay, look. Caylee Jenkins is before I got involved in being following true crime stories. But when I did hear about it and take a look at it, there is no way what everybody is saying happened.
It depends on what you saying and what you heard, because I've heard so many stories, bro.
Basically, what I have heard is that she did it to herself.
Oh no. Oh fuck no. No, that didn't happen.
Just the video of her walking down the hallway and stumbling around those stairs. Somebody gave her something to cause her to be that inebriated.
No doubt about it. No doubt about it.
The woman was given a Mickey, folks. I'm going to straight out say that. She was given a Mickey.
I fully believe it, and I stand on it. I stand on it. Somebody spiked her drink. And I got a feeling I know who it was. If you pay close attention to the video when they're in the room, just look at Ty and his sister. That's all I'm going to say.
Mm-hmm. And the fact that she landed up in that commercial kitchen storage refrigerator freezer, it wasn't by accident.
No, she was placed there, bro. I think she was placed there.
I 100% agree. I 100% agree. There's issues with the cameras.
Yep.
There's definitely issues with the cameras. The hotel did not want that negative attention where they were having a party. Somebody gave her drinks that were loaded with something else. And I'm not saying that the hotel is involved in a cover-up story, but I'm saying that somebody knew that their party was happening, protecting their job type of deal, because that party and that they were not supposed to be there. Thank you, Carrie.
So I think I heard what you said. I want to make sure you said what I think you said, because I agree.
I said there was a party that happened that was not supposed to be happening, meaning like a hotel room was open, vacant, and they had a party in there that was not supposed to be happening at the hotel. And during the course of the night, her drink was, somebody slipped something into her drink. And I agree with you 100%. She was placed into that cooler.
Oh yeah. You gotta understand. No, I've never been slipped to Mickey. But if you're that drunk, as soon as you walk into a freezer that's cold, that shit's gonna wake your ass up. I promise you.
Oh yeah.
Because you might be so drunk, that's gonna wake you up. You like, whoa, damn, it's cold in here.
Mm-hmm.
You're gonna get up out of it. No.
Oh yeah. I don't hide. I don't hide that I used to be a binge drinker, boss man. And one of the tricks that you do when you're a binge drinker, so you can stay up and drink more, if it's in the middle of the winter, you go outside in the cold for a minute.
Well, I never even knew that. And I drank too.
Well, no, I'm saying I was a binge drinker. I was like, you know, I went and got a couple bottles and I wanted to see the bottom of the bottle on both of them.
Jesus. Yeah.
Okay.
I see what you're saying. Mm. Well,
Just
I'm gonna go log into my computer so I can grab the phone and I'll come back up.
okay. All right. I appreciate that, boss
Just
man.
back to my house. All right.
Yeah. So I until tonight, I really have never mentioned Kanika uh, um, um, Jenkins. I'm drawing a mental blank on her last name. Please, somebody throw it up in the chat real quick for me. But that's honestly what I believe, and I've never talked about her before, but I had looked into what happened to her because I had heard on multiple channels about her. Okay, thank you, Where the Wind Blows. It is Jenkins. Thank you. But yeah, that like I said, I don't believe the hotel is covering it up, but I believe an employee is covering it up because they could have lost their job. And maybe not just one, but a couple. It is Kanika Jenkins. Thank you. Yeah. It's on video with her stumbling down the hallway. She's so inebriated that there's a set of stairs at the end of the hallway, and she can't help but to walk into the railing for the stairs. And then if you look at how she's walking, the next video they show of her quite often. Boss man, thank you for coming back. The next video they show of her is walking through the commercial kitchen, and it looks like somebody took the pattern that she walked down the hallway and where she had stumbled, not fallen, stumbled. It's the same exact pattern. Boss man, thank you for coming back. I don't know if you're muted or not. Looks like you are.
Yeah, I'm muted. I was fixing something to drink.
Oh, okay, go ahead, man. Oh, absolutely. The hotel can still be held accountable. Unfortunately, though, it's a matter of proving that they were legal guests there and not illegal guests there to have in that party, I think. And the hotel is not cooperating whatsoever. And you all know I embrace unorthodox um, uh, measures when I do my true crime stories. Sometimes I do think you have to embrace the paranormal. And there is a woman that does a lot of work with spirit boxes and frequently talks about Kanika Jenkins.
Hmm. What's up, everybody in the chat? If I didn't speak to you, hope you're having a good evening.
Boss man, if you don't mind, I'm going to take 30 seconds myself here, and I'm going to jump away real quick and grab more water for myself.
All right.
Appreciate you.
Double rainbow in the building. Yeah, where the wind blows at, it's one of the cameras that they say don't work was a camera that was actually right outside that upper kitchen that she supposedly walked into. But once they found her, they took pictures and they also did videos of the area where she supposedly walked. And they caught the camera that they said didn't work. Both lights were on the camera and it was working. The reason why I feel like they said it didn't work is because it would have captured what really happened when she got into that area. Because I think something real sinister happened to her that possibly has something to do with one of the hotel workers. And during that time that those kids threw the party, Bill Murray is in the middle of purchasing, I guess, or leasing, or I'm pretty sure purchasing a part of that hotel to run his Caddy Shack, which is a restaurant. Of course, that was going to be a big deal for Crown Plaza, and they didn't want to mess that up. They didn't want to mess that deal up with him. So they covered a lot of stuff up to, for one, save that contract with Caddyshack, and for two, possibly to protect the worker. That's just what I feel.
And I come back in the middle of that, but I didn't know about the restaurant deal, but I still believe that it's an employee that's being protected for whatever reason. I don't know what dirt he has on somebody, but somebody has decided that we're going to protect him.
Yeah, and that's the craziest thing about it. I feel the same way, but if you talk to maybe a friend of mine, Chloe, she gonna say, and I understand why, but why would they protect an employee and potentially, if they have nothing to do with it and it's just the employee, why would they protect them? You know what I'm saying? So I kind of get that, but it, like you said, it could be something that he have on him. I don't know.
Well, it's like I think the way I think it happened is that there was a room open. They were not supposed to be having a party there. That room shouldn't have been made available, but it shouldn't have been reserved or kept available. And it comes down to a legal issue of you have wrongful termination on one side, which is going to cast more shadow onto this. And then you have on the other side, you have legalities where the hotel can end up being sued for negligence or some sort of liability issue. Oklahoma, thank you for joining us. But that's the way I look at it, is that you have, it's a double-edged sword.
You there, RJ?
I am.
Okay.
You were talking and you were muted.
Well, actually, I was chewing. So, but actually,
Cosplay.
they actually do have a civil suit for negligence because she wasn't supposed to be able to get in that kitchen in the first place.
Right.
So, I guess they were willing to take that hit on the chin. But she's actually Teresa is suing every entity of that hotel.
Good.
Security, the Caddy Shack, Crown Plaza itself.
Good.
I think there's one more I'm missing, but I know it's the security, because the security was a company that they hired to come in and do their security. So that's a company in itself. Then of course the hotel, and then Caddy Shack, which is owned by Bill Murray. That was his kitchen that she walked in.
Right.
And she's suing for like $200 million, $50 million for each entity of that hotel. So I'm assuming there's 4 of them.
Yeah. I normally there is. Usually it's one of those deals where things are so divided up for tax purposes in that type of situation where it makes you scratch your head of how did they come up with this type of deal, So yeah, that totally makes sense.
Yeah.
Not to change topics here for a second, but Miss Cosplay.
Go ahead.
Miss Cosplay, do you have some bragging to do? A little birdie might have told me you might have some bragging to do on your daughter.
Hello, Miss Cosplay.
Give her a second or two to respond. Cosplay is one of one of a few people that I very highly speak of and hold in high regard, because when I go to them and I say and I throw a topic at them, and they will come back at me and challenge my thought, my opinions, which is exactly what I want from select people,
Right.
And they keep me sharp.
It's good to have people like that around.
Absolutely.
That's one thing about me. You can tell me anything about any case. I'm not just gonna believe what you said. I'm gonna have to find out for myself. You know what I'm saying? You can introduce me to the case, and I listen to everything you say. Now, when it comes to opinions and not 100% facts, yeah, let me see what I think first.
Oh yeah, no, absolutely, boss man, absolutely. Well, it's like Kaneka Jenkins. We never talked about it, and here we are. We're like eye to eye on it. We're like, man, we're right there with each other.
Yep, lined up, straight down the center.
Right. Oh, maybe. Oh, okay, Oreo, you might have. Maybe it was my question that I asked earlier, but I was asking how Cosplay daughter did tonight. I know she had a double header.
A double header.
Mm-hmm.
Appreciate that, Oklahoma. A double header.
Softball.
Okay. Winning the World Series.
Yeah.
She had 3 home runs tonight, 2 games. Other team put up 1 run, I think. Yeah, 83 runs.
Wow. Way to go, Cosplay's little girl. Congratulations. I'm not mentioning her name. I know her name, but I'm not mentioning her name. Congratulations to her. Cosplay, please send along that we say that is awesome job tonight.
That's not normal. 83 runs. Jesus.
Cosplay won the World Series. Cosplay, you were playing too tonight?
What league? How old is the daughter?
I want to say her daughter is probably it's an under 8 traveling team.
Okay. Then I can see why they got 83 runs. Then I thought this was like college softball or something.
No.
I like somebody head coach is gonna get fired.
Right? I mean, my goodness, college they have a mercy rule.
Jesus.
It was okay back in 2002. Yeah, I was talking about your daughter when I asked, but nonetheless, Mama was bragging on her daughter, and Mama can brag on her daughter as well.
That's right.
But yeah, going back to Connecticut Jenkins, I just wanted to say congratulations on that. See, there you go. It is 8 and under.
Okay.
Whew. Connecticut Jenkins, man, that is, like I said, I am not 100% familiar with the case, with the story and everything that happened, and I'm only going on what I've researched and the video. I mean, the video is really telling.
Man, look, I got the case for that's how I introduced myself to this true crime community was through Connecticut Jenkins, and I know that case very well. You know what I'm saying? We it's going on 5 years, man. This happened
Yeah,
back in 2017,
yeah,
and of course, they closed the case shortly after. You know what I'm saying? It happened, and I feel like that was done purposely. They originally called it a crime scene. Then they said it's a death investigation. So they didn't. To me, they never treated it like a crime scene. Like if you remember the kitchen. You remember seeing that cup there on that counter.
yeah.
That cup was never touched. It was still there after they left the crime scene. You would think, for evidence, we're gonna put this in a bag just to see if anybody, who check for some fingerprints or something. That cup stayed there. It's crazy. It's just a lot of things that the way that case was handled, you don't know who to point the finger at. You don't want to say the police was involved. You try not to say Rosemont, but it's too many things that a lot of content creators caught that would make an investigator or a detective say, that don't make sense.
Mm-hmm.
So if people who haven't went to school and got a degree in law enforcement or being a detective or anything like that, if they can find out these things and you can't, it's either one or two things: you don't care or you covering something up.
Right. Dumble Rainbows. I have not discussed with you Chris Watts before. I've actually not discussed Chris Watts at all before. Other than what I will say about that house is really about the house. Or say about the case, because that was so well covered in the press. There's no need to, in my opinion, to really discuss it any further. But as I mentioned, I believe that paranormal can be used in investigation. It can be a tool if it's done right. And I try to walk on that line of handling that right. That house is haunted. Shanann's spirit and the girl's spirit are still in that house. And that's really telling how tragic and how much trauma that he did in that house. But anyway, boss man, I just was giving my opinion about Chris Watts there.
Who is Chris Watts?
Family Annihilator from Colorado. Was gonna leave his pregnant wife Shanann for a woman that was into a Wiccan cult.
I'm not familiar with that.
Oh my! He actually went to the court and pled guilty and begged everybody to be like, it begged everybody to leave his mistress alone.
Hmm.
Here you go. I'm just going to go ahead and throw the Wikipedia link up here in the chat. Actually, I'll put it in the private chat so you can pull it up and take a look at it, because it's there's a lot of video on it, a lot of news stories on it on the internet. Yeah, but Chris Watts, man, it's a family annihilator story, is what it is. He pled guilty and is doing life.
I don't know why I was thinking when Chris, I was confusing Chris Watts with that guy. I want to say his name it was Chris too, but it was this guy. His wife went missing. God, and he was the one who actually killed her. But, oh man, what was?
Are you talking about the story out of California?
I can't remember where, but I know his name was Chris.
Mm-hmm.
And
No, I was thinking Larry.
His name, I believe his name was Chris too, and he had to call the police to get in his house. God, what is his name? Not Chris Long. What is this dude's name, man?
Nah, Chris Long, he's a former NFL player.
Yeah, he is. Yeah, hold on. It's Chris. What is his name? It might not be Chris. Hell, I might be wrong. Shit. But I remember them watching some footage with the police, and he was looking nervous as hell while he was watching it with them. God, what is his name? Somebody in the chat know what I'm talking about.
That's Chris Watts.
Is that Chris Watts?
It was at a neighbor's house, and it was on a large screen TV.
Yes. So that's him.
That's
okay.
him.
Okay, I do know about Chris Watts then. Okay.
Yep, that's Chris Watts. Yeah, that's how he got caught. Was his neighbor's surveillance camera happened to be on the angle that catches his garage in front of his house.
Yep, I remember now. Yeah, that's him. Yeah. Okay, I know about that case. Yeah,
another
he looked so sick when he was watching that footage. Like he was like, "Fuck, they caught me. I know they got me."
Yeah. Well, I mean, if you watch that video where they're standing with the police officer, talking to the police officer, the body camera, camera footage, where the officer hangs back a minute and talks with the neighbor. The neighbor actually says he did something. This is not him. This is not how he's normally cool, calm, collected. He was all nervous and all over the place and jittery. He goes, that's not how he normally acts. He did something. The neighbor didn't even know the details of what happened. He's like, it was him.
Yeah, I remember that.
Yep. You know, double rainbows. That's the funny thing. It's actually the house, because if you watch and go on YouTube and look at the video where they actually go in with the dogs, search with the dogs, the girls will be in there laughing. They're like playing around. They see the dog. And the handlers actually hear what's going on, and they're like, what was that? And they actually try to investigate to prove that it was a toy or something that they either stepped on or the dog had stepped on that squeaked. But it's little girls laughing, and there's no little girls in the house.
Give me one second. I'm gonna step away for a second. I'll be right back.
Sure.
All right.
Yeah, yeah. Where the wind blows. I kid you not. If you watch the video where they go in with the dog handlers, they're about to go into a closet. And they're going to go up the second floor and they're about to go into a closet. You can hear a little girl laughing. And then later on in the video, or before that video, you could see what looks like a silhouette of a little girl running up the stairs. Or I'm sorry, not up the stairs, but along the banister. Along the banister, it was this one of those what do you call it? Where you have individual slotted wood pieces in the banister. It's not like a solid banister. Yeah, but the handlers, they'll sit there and they'll poke around. You'll see them. They're looking all around. They're looking, making sure they didn't step on something or anything like that. Exactly, double rainbows. Yes. Yep. And not to be when trauma happens to a kid that ultimately causes their demise. One of the reasons it's extremely hard for parents to move on is because their child stays with them. I don't know if I could or couldn't because it's been as long as it has been. Maybe I can find a video of it that's would be okay to play. Let me see if I can find a channel that. I apologize, guys. I'm looking for a channel that might be okay with it. It's been 2 years. If they want to complain, they can complain. Okay, guys. This is an 11-minute long video. I'm not going to show all of it. I'm just going to play some of it here. But this woman is the dog handler that I'm talking about. Watch the stairwell as soon as it comes into view right around the corner here. Are you guys hearing this?
Hello guys, today we want to look at some recordings from the infamous Watts family home, which were taken by several officers' body cams, as well as the county search team. If you are not familiar with the unbelievable story of the Watts case, go check out this video in the right top corner by our war.
I pause it for a second. I just want to make sure everybody is hearing this okay. Great. Thank you, boss man. I appreciate that. But okay, so keep an eye on, like I said, especially what happens up on the second floor. And I do have the volume up all the way as far as I can go. So I apologize if it's not clear. You may need to turn up your own volume. This is for educational and entertainment purposes. It is covered under the Section 107 of the Fair Use Act. Sorry, I was drawing a mental blank. We're doing this for commentary purposes and for educational purposes and entertainment. Yes, Fair Use Act 1976 clause, section 107.
World TV, who sums the whole story up quite nicely. This incident occurred on August 13th of 2018. Chris tried to cover the whole story up, but got caught by his neighbor's CCTV camera while he was about to dispose of the remains and other pieces of evidence that could tie him to this case as a suspect. It is believed that the search team, as well as different officers that were investigating the house, could pick up several unexplained sightings and EVPs. Some people believe them to be stemming from and featuring Shannon and her two daughters. The unit enters, and it doesn't take long for the person with the body cam to capture the first really unusual thing. Some people claim that one of the daughters can be seen up the stairs while the search team makes their entrance into the living room. Let's watch that again. I can't say for certain if this is truly an apparition, but it is definitely possible. What do you think? At this point, we can hear an EVP, which sounds pretty similar to "Get Out Alive." Followed by an unknown female voice saying no. Right after this capture, it appears that Shannon can be seen in the mirror. One could think that the apparition in the mirror is taking a picture with their iPhone. Ironically, Shannon owned an iPhone, which she had left in the house. But it could also be the officer's reflection. We can't be 100% certain here.
Does she work? Yeah, she works from home. Oh, from home? She works distance her lifeline.
Next, the two officers make it into a closet, which on further inspection appears to be a wardrobe in one of the bedrooms. Listen closely as a faint giggle is being captured in the background.
Yes.
Oh my gosh. What in the world is that? Wow.
Yes.
Oh my gosh. What in the world is that? Wow. Go in there and step on that little blue thing.
I pause it again. Did you guys catch that? There's a little girl laughing so noticeably that the dog handlers caught it.
Oh.
No recording equipment, no nothing. And this one woman they're showing you right here looked around and see what it could have been. And there was nothing there for it to cause it.
This person is the only person in here.
It was her and the person that is doing the body, the photo, the camera work.
Yeah.
No children, and her dog. This is part of the police's official investigation.
So this is actually body cam, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Sure, I'll back it up a few seconds here and just, Carrie, thank you very much. I'm just going to read it again so it's completely read. Copyright disclaimer under Section 107 of the Copyright Act 1976, purpose of fair use as criticism, comment, news reporting, and research. You can also add into that for educational and entertainment purposes. Okay, so I'm going to back it up a few seconds here, and I will mute myself again.
Oh my gosh. What in the world is that? Wow. Go in there and step on that little blue thing and see if that's where that
Yeah, it sounded like a kid toy.
It sort of sounds like it.
The two officers clearly heard the laughing child as well, and now we're looking for explanations of where this giggle could have originated from. But of course they had no idea.
Something. I heard it.
That one, did you hear it?
I did.
It sounded like a kid giggling or something, didn't it? Or a kid.
Yes.
Oh my gosh.
I heard it that
What in
time.
the world is that? Wow. Go in there and step on that little blue thing and see if that's where that
Yeah, it sounded like a kid toy.
It sort of sounds like it.
The two officers clearly heard the laughing child as well, and now we're looking for explanations of where this giggle could have originated from. But of course they had no idea.
Something. I heard it.
And they could not prove that it was something physically in that room.
Or something, didn't it? Or a kid.
It did.
Because all he did was go straight in there. That was strange, but we'll make a note of that.
I heard it. I definitely heard the same thing you did.
Yeah, and he just sort of turned around and looked.
Now, what is pretty interesting is that Chris's mistress, called Nicole, left a pretty ominous voice message on his phone. I find it is super close to the giggles we just heard moments ago. Make of it what you want. Coincidence? Maybe.
Hi. It's me. I miss your face. I was just calling to say hi.
Let's listen to some more EVPs captured in this residence.
Yes. Yes.
On the following night, neighbors informed the police that the woman had been seen and recorded by CCTV camera entering the house of the Watts family. What is pretty unexplainable, though, is the fact that she apparently has never left the house afterwards. Also, the squad noticed that the lights in the garage had been turned on.
Frederick Police Department, anybody in the house? Frederick Police Department, anybody in the house, make yourself known.
Right after that charming introduction, the team makes their way in to investigate what was going on in this house. They split up to cover more ground. While exploring, they capture several inexplicable occurrences. The next we see is that members of the squad are making their way upstairs to check for anybody in the building. Some viewers claim that they see a figure peeking out behind one of the policemen. Let me know if you see anything. Possibly the shadow of Bella. While this officer is guarding the dining area, a shadow seems to have moved quickly from the right to the left. Other viewers also state that they could see a shadow on the chair and unusual activity on the right. What's your opinion? It appears that the man also saw something, but who knows? Thank you so much for watching. See you all next time, and stay frosty.
I don't know where everybody's view is on paranormal, about ghosts, about spirits, about EVPs, about spirit boxes. I, for one, can tell you that I'm convinced, okay, that these things do naturally happen. Ghosts do exist. Absolutely. I can say there's only one of all those incidences that I disagree with, and that's the little girl on the stairs. I think it's actually a glare of light off the wood rails. But every single other one that they pointed out, and I love how he did it. I love how he did it, to be honest. But every other one that he pointed out in that video, I 100% believe that it is Shanann and the girls. Bossman, I don't see you're still there. I see you there, but and I know you're muted, so I don't know if you're saying anything or not.
I'm here. I'm just taking all that in.
Right. I know it takes a moment. It really does take a moment. And Carrie, you're right. Carrie, I love Carrie's mind about this. She always approaches this with skepticism. So if Carrie's saying there's something there, and while she's not saying, she's 100% sure what it is, but she's saying it's something there, there's something going on.
I don't know. I'm gonna let you have that one, bro.
No. Hey, look, I'm honest. I embrace it. I experience it, and how I actually realized there was such thing as paranormal things happening was when I was about. Well, I've always had things going on my whole entire life. Okay. But really, I really started taking notice when I was about 12 years old and I was in Gettysburg, Pennsylvania. And it was July 4th weekend, which is when the battle happened. And I saw things happening. Okay. It wasn't people reenacting. It was figures moving in areas of woods in soldiers' uniforms and a soldier marching and then collapsing to the ground. Those kind of things I experienced. And that's where I really started to realize, oh, I'm really seeing these things, type of deal.
I wouldn't say it wasn't nothing. I wouldn't say I didn't see anything because I seen it and I heard it. So,
but right, and that's the thing is that's what I'm saying is you can approach it with skepticism. You don't have to accept it like I do. Approach it with skepticism, and which is if you're seeing and hearing something, and your mind questions, that's actually a good thing.
Weird.
It is when it first happens and you first realize what's going on. It is weird. I will agree with you there. And that's why when I the day of the Summer Wells and Carrie and I have already talked, but not in detail talk, that we're going back. when I went to that cemetery and used the spirit box, that's right across the street from where Summer Wells lived, we had gotten some interesting responses. But I'm going back with more recording equipment next time.
Oh, okay, so you have a spirit box? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, yeah.
Oh shit. Okay.
It's really an app, but it's a reliable app, and it works really, really well. Carrie can tell you there was a lot of conversation going on, and this is not. It's on a tablet that is a Wi-Fi only tablet, so there was no internet feed coming in on this. It literally is just capturing and playing or amplifying what the spirits in this cemetery were saying. Now, guys, I know that's not for everybody, and that freaks some people out, and I apologize, but it really happened. You can actually find that on Google Play Store or Apple Play Store, whatever they call it, the Apple Store. I use a spirit box that I use, or the app I used is Necrophonics. Let me just make sure I'm giving you the right name. Yep, Necrophonics. Thank you, Cosplay. Cosplay is exactly right.
Hey, I gotta take this call. It's Miss Naisha calling. I promised I was gonna talk to her tonight, so
I got
gotta
you.
run.
I got you.
And I did send you an email of that screenshot too of that.
I did see that. I just hadn't replied to you yet, but I appreciate you sending me that information.
Yeah, I want to break that down to you whenever you have time. So, but I'll chat with you later, man.
Absolutely. Have a good night. Thank you, Carrie. Content is and discussion is for opinion, allegedly, and for entertainment purposes only. We've gotten a bit far away from where we started tonight, but hey, it's been a good conversation, guys. I appreciate it. I don't know if we scared Boss Man off a little bit there, but he's like, I heard something. I don't know what I heard, but I heard something. So yes, to answer your question, there is a on my channel, there is a video where I did a spirit box session. It was reaching out to Summer Wells. And then the following night, it will actually say spirit box, I believe. Where I went over the results of what I was capturing, and the video takes a little bit of time because I keep pausing and explaining what the setup of what's going on and what I've heard, what I captured, type of deal. But frequently I have been able to talk to Summer Wells. Let me see if I can find it real quick. I apologize for my being silent. I actually found the video and I wasn't talking over myself for a second. So this is the video that's the results of the spirit box session that I had done. Honestly, honestly, a lot of times I don't need to write them out to hear them. And honestly, a lot of the times when I use a spirit box, I do it to make it easier to hear them. Not so much that I need to use it. With the exception of what I did on June 15th, which was a mistake of my own. It's why I really, I just say that I did a spirit box session and Carrie was my witness that I was there doing it. I forgot any sort of recording equipment or double check an app to make sure it was going to work, is what I didn't do. And because of that, I don't have a recording of it. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Double rainbows. Yeah. Thank you very much, Carrie. Double rainbows. You're exactly right. It's just a lot of times it's for me, because I can hear them naturally. A lot of times I could be out walking somewhere and Carrie's going to be my witness. When we went to the cemetery, before I had broken out the app or turned on the spirit box, anything like that, I walked around that cemetery. I pinpointed an area and I said, there's at least 3 in that area that want my attention. And one of the things they kept repeating to me, it was to tell me there was 3 of them. There's 3, 3, 3. They kept repeating 3 at one point when I first started. And it was exactly like I was saying. There's 3. A couple seconds later, it'll be 3 again. It's exactly how they did it. But yeah, that's and yes, I'm planning on putting up more videos on Spirit Box sessions. No, actually, I do. One of them is my grandfather, and I have one other. And then I have a what's called a cobalt. It's a German word. It's a protector spirit. It's actually a trickster as well. My spirit guides tend to remain more quiet until it needs to tell me it's time to cut the stop, or it's time to warning me that there's something I need to be aware of approaching. that I need to protect myself from. They don't, when I'm doing a spirit box session or anything like that, I'll encourage them to help me, but they tend to stay quiet. But I definitely know one of them is my grandfather, and the other one is a male figure. I just never have felt that I need to identify who he is. He doesn't really want to identify himself to me, but it's positive. My grandfather would call me by my first name and be like, "Okay, that's enough." Yeah, so I get to have that kind of fun sometimes, guys. And I see we have some lurkers that are just sitting back observing, like, what the heck is he talking about? Thank you, cosplay. I appreciate that. Yes, please. If you have liked what we talked about at any point tonight, please hit that like button, subscribe button, and the notification bell. Notification bell will let you know when I'm live and what I'm talking about. This past week has been a bit of a exception for me. It's I usually only go live about 2, maybe 3 times a week, either on my channel or another person's channel. John Q, Bossman Blake are usually the ones I mainly go on. And Rain, thank you very much. Thank you very much for that compliment. And I try to bring something new and different. Double Rainbows, thank you very much. I appreciate that. Yep. Yeah, sometimes I'll actually sit there and say, like, and I will give credit to a video, whether or not, and I will take something they said that they just completely glossed over, that just it's jumped out and screamed at me, and I will give that creator credit, and let's say, hey, this particular creator inspired this, and I'll explain why. But guys, I see that it is midnight. I've actually been up since 7:30 this morning, my time. It's midnight my time now. I haven't eaten my dinner yet, nor have I made my dinner yet. So I'm going to call it a night. Discord, if you're in my Discord, you're more than welcome. We'll be more than able to and welcome to continue the conversation. But I want to thank everybody for coming out. It's midnight on the East Coast. No matter how old your kids are, if they're adults or they're kids, do you know where your kids are tonight? My name is RJ. I want to thank everybody for coming out. I hope everyone has a wonderful night. Good night. I'm out.